peace, and love, kings and queens. Welcome to episode 4 of the Yebo podcast. In this episode, we have our first guest feature / collaboration, founder, owner, and creator of TK Remedies candle company, KELSEY FITZPATRICK. Let's start with some more laid back questions. So how has your quarantine been so far? I think it's been it's like month 9 or something like that.
Yeah, we almost on a year.
Yeah, what have you been doing? How have you navigated life since March?
Yeah. When it first started, I was still in school. I was graduating from DePaul. So just transitioning from doing regular school into virtual school and virtual work. My job turned virtual. It was crazy, but eventually I learned how to like it. I actually enjoy being in the house now.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I'm naturally introverted too. So I don't really like people, especially strangers and stuff like that. So it's been natural for me. But what's your day-to-day look like?
Yeah. My day-to-day now is still work. When it first started, I tried to when I wasn't working as much and I was still in school, I tried all types of things like painting, and I tried all types of stuff to keep me busy, but it didn't. It kept me busy for a little while. But now, working, I've gotten more into meditation and yoga and just keeping myself busy and sane while staying in the house.
Since the quarantine started, you started doing that.
Yeah.
That stuff. I've tried that stuff, watching YouTube videos and meditating and yoga, like you said.
Yeah.
And it's hard to stay focused for me. Just getting up at a specific time every time and consistent time every time has been really hard for me. And it's also necessary because for a lot of people being in the house like this and being subjugated to stay inside and not being able to see family members is can be draining on people.
Yeah.
And for me, I used to turn to those things when I had issues like that. But then it's also super hard to stay motivated to get up on time and because I'm also working from home and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but transitioning to you as a person and your personnel. If I asked you if I was your friend, or you let's say you had an out of body experience and you were a friend of KELSEY FITZPATRICK. How would that friend describe KELSEY to me? Let's say I wanted to be her friend or something like that. I wanted to know more about you.
Yeah.
What would that person say?
That's a good question. First of all, I'm trying to think of what my friends tell me or tell other people. I don't know. I'll be chilling. I'm not too wow. I don't know. I'm real laid back. I just try to.
Kind of deep question.
That is a deep question. Yeah, I'm really trying to think of what my actual friends will say. I don't want to be arrogant though, but
No, go ahead.
I'm a good person.
Talk yourself.
I am. I think I'm very centered. I try to encourage my friends to be the best that they can be. I encourage myself to be the best I can be. I also don't take mess from people, regardless if we're friends or family. So I'm very honest, very outgoing, very goal-driven, for sure. Not just for me, but just for everybody around me. I want everybody around me to do well, to their best potential, whether it be, the same as what I'm doing or just what they're doing, just encouraging or whatever kind of person they want to be or can be. Yeah, but overall, I really just be in my own way.
Yeah. And then those qualities you named, who would you say has been kind of your biggest influence in terms of how you look at life or the person that you are?
Yeah. It's gonna sound real cliche, but my mom. Yeah, my mom is the same way, goal driven. She helps everybody around her, and that's all I've watched. She helps me. She instilled that in me. Being and being independent and very strong-willed, I definitely got from her. She instilled a lot of my entrepreneurial skills and ideas into me at a very young age. Whether we knew it or not, it was there. She's not an entrepreneur herself, but she's always wanted me to create my own, idea of the world and create my own products or just be a creator, period. So it'll be my mom, yeah.
So with the creative aspect you're talking about, I guess we start talking about your business. Like, how did TK Remedies come to be? What's the backstory behind like what it is truly besides the candles? Like, what's the bigger goal? What's the mission? What's the vision for it? And how'd you get started along this journey?
Yeah. I learned how to make candles as a hobby first. I kind of got bored. It was a summer. It was like last summer, I think, or two. I don't know. It was a summer where I was bored and I just was overworking and just over everything. So I just wanted a hobby to start. So I was learning how to make candles. It took me about 6 months. Once I got to the point where, the candles I got to the point where they were functional candles. I kind of got discouraged at a time, and not just with candles, but just period, just overall in all aspects. I was super discouraged, super down. So I kind of thought what would get me up and motivate me to actually jump into these candles for real and create something, and adding a meaning to them was really important. And that's how I came up with the affirmations. And at first it just started off with the word that was tied to the sense. And the deeper I got into it, I started with affirmations. And half the time the affirmations they will come from maybe just the scent itself, or it'll come from what I needed to hear at that time that I was making it, or, at that time that I was creating it. So that's where the candles came just as a hobby, but adding that meaning to it, adding the backstory to it and everything else that it's become, it started with me needing motivation for myself, and I tied that to the candles. As far as my bigger picture, I want to do that for other people, not just with my candles, but with my brand as a whole. As a person, I want to definitely encourage people to keep going no matter what stage you're in your life. If you're doing amazing, keep doing amazing. If you're down and out, see that light at the tunnel, keep going. And just, being very motivational and inspiring to whoever I can reach out to. And candles are very subtle, so it helps. It goes hand in hand.
Something that I think as I've grown older, when it comes to self-care, is the fact that like actions, like lighting candles for yourself, meditating, doing yoga, or doing things that make you happy, like you need intention behind it.
Yeah.
And could you go deeper into talk about having affirmations and having candles as a form of like therapy almost? Can you go more into the importance of being intentional?
Yeah.
Whether it's candles or whether it's, I think people miss that part. It's like, and I'm feeling
that you
bad,
have to do.
Right? Like I'm feeling bad. Like, man, I'm down today, or like I'm feeling anxious, and like it really takes like some mental work to like have that like intention behind your actions. So can you go more in depth about like the importance of that?
Yeah. I definitely believe that self-care is more important than lighting a candle and saying an affirmation every day. It can definitely help you. I definitely say affirmations in times of need, but you have to recognize what those times of need is when you're in that moment. Right. You have to do the work to, you got to take accountability, responsibility for yourself, and day to day, not just when you at home cleaning and lighting a candle. Like your day to day self-care has to include accountability within yourself and responsibility, and that's not easy. Looking at yourself and realizing your flaws and they never really go away, you know.
Right.
But you have to do that work for yourself to, you know, raise yourself higher, raise your own vibrations higher. And not just for the sake of everybody else, but for yourself as well. Because if you don't feel, you know, that you are completely whole, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Because you're going to be by yourself. You have to deal with you regardless of anything.
That's a fact.
So as far as going deeper into that, yes, meditation helps, but I don't think meditation is different for everybody. There's no one way to do meditation, you know, and I've learned that going through it. It's not just sitting down in a room and saying kumbaya or whatever people say. You know, sometimes it's silence. Sometimes your eyes are closed. Sometimes your eyes are open. Sometimes you don't have a space where you're like in your house and you're quiet. Sometimes I've meditated in my car because I had to. And I was flustered and all over the place. And you just have to, you know, come to yourself and try to feel whatever you feeling and release whatever you need to release, and just in that moment becoming one with yourself. And it doesn't always look like it does in the movies, right? Because it's not. Even with yoga, and you were speaking earlier on, you know, waking up at a certain time, it doesn't always look like that. Not everybody wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning to meditate and do yoga. Sometimes it's 5 p.m. But it's still effective. You know, you still taking that time to be with yourself and to put that work into you. So day to day, no, it's not easy. It's not all candles and just affirmations and everything's going to change. You have to actually dig deep within yourself and understand yourself. And sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes it's ugly, but you got to do that day to day work to make it better.
You mentioned like self-care being almost like it's an internal thing. It's about like you and your relationship like with yourself. And do you think there's a fine line, I guess, between like self-care being like I guess like generally speaking for like most people, like self-care being for yourself, and then like doing it to help yourself, and like doing it for like an aesthetic or like a social media aesthetic. Something I've noticed is like a lot of times my closest friends will like tweet about like self-care and stuff like that, and oftentimes they're like the ones that struggle the most. And I like ask, I don't know, like for some reason I always tend to be that like friend who like people go to for stuff like that, and like they struggle the most. So do you think, I guess, what is that fine line, and like what is it truly about when it comes to self-care? Obviously it's about like your personal life, but what is that fine line, and what have you noticed about that fine line?
Yeah. First of all, I think that announcing anything about self-care is, I don't know. People take how can I say this in the nicest way possible, while still being honest. I honestly think people should stay off of social media if they are truly going through their self-care journey. I don't think social media is the place to even announce that you're going through your self-care journey, because at that point you are taking it from that sacredcy from yourself and then putting it out to the rest of the world. And it's like, who's really reading that and really, you know, understanding what you're saying? Do you even understand what you're saying yet? You know, so that's a tough question. That's a tough question.
You also mentioned that you're involved with the organization Making Mental Health Matter. Is that something like you're a part of, like Kelsey's a part of, or is it like a partnership that you have like with your company and them? And then what does that look like? And why did you see fit that you partner with them?
Yeah, so I'm not a part of Making Mental Health Matter. Making Mental Health Matter is ran by one of my friends that I went to school with, Jada. And she's always been, before it was brought to social media, which is why I emphasize that, she's always been a very she's always been advocating self-care and self-development, the ugly side of it. You know, it's not the part that we go through by ourselves. So I'm not a part of making mental health matter. I did partner with them on a couple of giveaways where we, in order to join the giveaway, you have to be a part of some sort of, we did a couple of them, so I'm trying to come up with it. So she does like different donations. Like we did, okay, make this donation to this organization, and then you'll be entered for a giveaway. Or we did one of them. We did, what does self-care mean to you? And share it with us. What does it truly mean to you? Share it with us, and you enter this giveaway. So kind of like more than just a follow. Right. And then you'll enter this giveaway. We want them to actually get them thinking, actually get them involved, get them active. So a lot of what we did was we used her platform, because that's what she's about. She's about giving back to her community. She's about bettering ourselves individually. So in order to do that, we attached my product, which is also, it goes hand in hand. And we created giveaways.
That's dope. Collaboration is an amazing tool. Just shifting a little bit, I think, like, especially, I don't know, I'm sort of a politics type of person. Like, I pay attention to it, and I know a lot of people, like, don't like to do the politics thing. But, I mean, regardless of her politics, I think Kamala Harris being nominated VP is an important step. And I think, especially, like, this last summer, June, July, August, after the George Floyd assassination, in my opinion, after the Ahmaud Arbery assassination, and then Breonna Taylor being killed by police, we saw, like, not just protests in the street, we saw not just outcries on social media, but I think we saw, at least from what I was seeing, like an uprise in support for Black businesses and black people in general. But also more specifically Black women, and not just their businesses and like their contributions, but the role that they like play in general in society. So I'm interested, like, how has your identity as a Black woman shaped, one, who you are, and then two, shaped your company, TK Remedies, and what are maybe some challenges or maybe like advantages that have come from being a Black woman?
Oh, advantages from being, okay, I like that. So the first question was, you asked me like 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said let me ask one question at a time. What have you seen like what have you noticed about, like, after this past summer especially, what have you noticed about like your identity as a Black woman, and like, first of all, like, you know, how has your identity as a Black woman shaped who you are today and your business? Then I'll ask the other questions after that.
Yeah.
And you respond.
I didn't think about it before, but until you asked that question.
I'm
but
sorry.
oh no, I'm saying, like, it's a good question.
Okay.
Being a Black woman has shaped me in so many different ways. First of all, we have to that is such overall, being a Black woman has definitely instilled a lot of willpower in me. Being able to withstand, you know, anything, whatever I face, I have to tackle it head on, because nobody else is going to tackle it for me, you know. And we see that a lot in tackling issues with the rest of our community by myself as well. You know, there's a lot of responsibility in being Black, first of all. And there's way more responsibility in being a woman. So being a Black woman brings on a lot more responsibility. I guess that's actually pushed me to go harder in every aspect, especially as an entrepreneur, because it's not seen that you don't see too many Black female entrepreneurs. There are many. Like we do this, but you don't see it often. You don't see it often. So it is very important to me to show the people around me that is possible. And then speaking on politics and Kamala Harris. I hope I pronounced that right. Kamala Harris. It's okay. Regardless of where we stand politically, it's the visualization. That's the representation. That's very important. We haven't seen that at all. Regardless of how you feel about her views, a Black woman is vice president of America. And I'm pretty sure that she is ecstatic that she's able to show that. And sometimes that's all it takes. Is just to show our community that we can actually do it. And so to me, I have little cousins, I have nieces and nephews and all of that, and man, it's important to be that person that somebody can look up to, and you can instill something in somebody just by them watching you. So that goes hand in hand with how being a Black woman made me who I am, and being a Black woman as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, with the I did like an inventory of like the people I look up to the most and have been most influential, and like probably like out of 10, like probably like 7 or 8 of them were women. I was like, y'all really do like influence so much, and that's like not even like a cliche thing. Like I'm saying, like it's like an actual fact. Like you guys like are the backbone of like businesses and families, and like I think you guys never get the recognition that you deserve from that. But along those same lines, think, is there a connection between your identity as a Black woman or whatever else you consider to be a part of your identity that has affected like your business and like your outlook on it, and like along with that, who is like your target audience when it comes to your business? Is it everybody? Is it targeted towards a certain demographic? Is it Black people? Is it Black women? If those questions make sense.
Yeah. Your first question was, how does my identity play into
business, TK Remedies?
My business, TK Remedies, yeah. In a way, I think it's all connected. I've always been a very encouraging person. I've always had my hand out for people, whether it be mentally, emotionally, physically. And I know that I've been given certain opportunities and certain outlooks on life that a lot of other people, did not get. I've been blessed with those opportunities, and I'm not afraid to share them. I'm not stingy with them. So I've always understood that, and I've always been able to share that light with other people. So just instilling myself into TK Remedies is kind of just instilling myself into a product that can help other people, people that I can't personally reach. That's how I look at it. I make the affirmations myself. They come from me. So it's a way for me to reach people that I cannot physically reach.
That's good.
And that would be how I connect myself to TK Remedies.
That's good. I didn't like think of it like most people don't like think about, especially like owners of businesses, like they don't think about it like that. Like they think about like, okay, product, I'm gonna sell it and I'm gonna make money. Like they don't think about like the impact that you can really have on like people. Like I'm sure you made a lot of like sales, and like that's a huge reach to like you don't even know. Well, actually, you might know based on like reviews, like people telling you directly, but like just like how impactful like a candle with like that positive affirmation can have on somebody. So that's a good way to frame it.
And that yeah, and it pays off not with the money. It pays off when people come to me and they're like I've had somebody sing a song that my candle reminded them of, and they like tell me when they light it. I've had people tell me that the intentions of the candle helps them through their day, like at work, and we all know we hate work.
Right.
So just to know that it's actually working is what pays off. It's great that I have a product, in my own business, but my mission was to be able to get people through their days or their weeks or their months, years, whatever.
And then I think something else that I'm interested in is you seem, obviously you're somebody has a lot of self-awareness, a lot of emotional intelligence.
Thank you.
No problem. What are some of your daily, weekly, yearly practices for self-care? What do you do when you are feeling certain ways? And how do you keep yourself accountable to do those things?
I'll start with how I keep myself accountable. I have I have a lot of, first of all, I'm hard on myself. I'm learning to be more patient with myself and being more forgiving of myself because I'm my worst critic. But that's not self-care, right? It's a part of self-care, taking accountability, but you also have to reward yourself for the work that you've done and the good that you do. I have a lot of people around me that hold me accountable as well. I also have a lot of people around me that encourage me to do better. They may not see the ugly sides, that I need to work on. They only see the good. And so keeping that balance definitely helps me. Helped me in the past. Now I have to keep that balance within myself, being able to congratulate myself while still holding myself accountable for other things that I need to work on, right? What does it look like day to day? It changes all the time. There's been times where I haven't meditated for like a few weeks. There's been times where I probably haven't journaled for a few days. There's been times where I didn't do yoga. I didn't wake up that morning and, do a routine. I won't say my routine because it changes. It is different every day. Being patient with myself is my everyday routine. Being patient with myself and constantly checking in with myself is my daily routine. As far as like monthly, it changes. I do have monthly goals. I have monthly goals that I set for myself, and they can be financial goals, they can be mental goals, they can be emotional goals, they can be, whatever I feel like I need to work on or whatever I feel like I want to be better at. Sometimes I think, as an example, last month, I had issues with spacing out when talking to people, and I didn't want that. So I made it my goal for that. And sometimes it's like small stuff like that, right. But I noticed it. And so I made it my goal last month to speak to everybody as if they're the most important person in that moment. And it helped a lot because I was able to go in depth with the conversation. I was able to listen. My listening skills are better because they were horrible before. But just noticing that I really don't listen to people when they talking to me. Sometimes I don't. And I don't mean to be, somebody that doesn't listen to people, but sometimes you don't. Not everybody is a great listener. So my goal that month was to make sure that whoever I was speaking to in that moment, I spoke to them and listened to them as if that was the most important person at that time. And it helped a lot.
I feel like, that's real. That's interesting because, like, I don't know, I feel like those, like you said, it might seem small, but those kind of things are things that like people aren't aware of at all, like in their day to day. And I don't know, I admire that intention and that like level of self awareness, because I'm sure I have a lot of things that I do like in my interactions with people that like people are like, bro, like what is he doing? That's definitely that's the first thing that like I'm learning from you, is like I need to be more aware of myself on a day to day, week to week. And then 2, just overall, you talked about how it depends on the day to day. Like it doesn't look the same every day. I think that makes me feel better about myself, because I was like I want to be on a schedule where I'm like disciplined enough to like wake up at 6:30, do my like whatever, my journaling, my intentions or whatever. And I'll be like, this is hard. Like, this is hard work. Like, how can I? Like,
it's
how do
not
people,
realistic. It's
right.
all. That's what I mean by, there's a difference between actually doing the work and being on social media and showing what you're doing. Because people can be on social media all day, like, oh, I do yoga every day. I do this every day. No, you don't. You don't. Right. Nobody has the mental capacity to wake up at 4:00 in the morning and meditate and do yoga.
Right.
We got jobs. We've been up tired, all night. Right. Like, that doesn't actually happen. It's just, as long as you are doing it, at some point you have good intentions behind it. But we're still, even though we are spiritual beings, we're still living a human experience. We can't jump up at 4:00 every morning. Right. This experience doesn't allow us to do that. So it's different, and I'm never gonna be afraid to say that I don't do that every day, because I don't. I'm not trying to sell y'all a dream.
No, yeah. I like this conversation. This is really open. Like, most people wouldn't come on here or come anywhere and be like, yeah, it's like, that's not really realistic. It's like some people like want to put on this like facade, regardless of what it is. Like, this is who I am. But like, I like the fact that you're willing to be open and be honest with like me and yourself and everyone else who's listening or watching. But let's get more into like your products themselves. What's like your favorite candle scent? Candle scent. What's your favorite candle scent? Smell.
Favorite candle scent. I have so many. First of all, I'm very picky with the way that I choose my scents. So every scent I'm in love with, okay? Every scent is like, oh my gosh, like I have to do this one. I don't half-ass my scents, okay? But my favorite would probably be the one you're burning, bamboo coconut.
Bamboo coconut, yeah.
It was tropical sage. That was my very first collection. And then I came out with the mango coconut and the bamboo coconut after the rebrand. So yeah, it will be bamboo coconut.
Yeah, people have seen this on the podcast before. I bought this past summer, and like I burnt it, and I was just like chilling in my room, I was like playing whatever. Then I started smelling it, and I was like, I immediately, like, I was focused, I was good, like I was like straight. And then I texted you, I was like, yeah, like this is amazing. Yeah. This is also my favorite one. And then like you have some new products here. Do you want to talk about those? Like your idea behind it, some new packaging and stuff.
Yeah. So I wanted this to be a limited edition package, like bundle deal, for the winter, because these are very like wintry scents. They're not like the spring scents, like the tropical sage and guava berry. These are more for December, January, February. And I didn't want them to look like my initial packaging. I wanted it to look like limited edition. So that's where the packaging comes from. They come in banana nut bread, saffron and ginger tea, apples and maple bourbon. And these also have affirmations. They did have words, but you can't fit them on there. So the affirmations gonna have to do. But yeah, this is gonna be my winter collection that has not been released yet, but coming soon.
Yeah, I'm about to buy one this winter. And then I'm interested, before we like kind of have like some wrap up questions, like less deep. Like what's the next step for TK Remedies? What are you looking to do next? What's the next endeavor? How do you expand, if that's what you want to do?
Yeah. We are getting into stores. Yeah, we're already working on it.
It's exciting.
It's coming along in a lot of different ways. But yeah, we're going to reach a lot more people than just our social media.
Okay. And is there anything else you want to talk about in terms of your business and like you and your self-care journey?
I feel like I put it all on the table. Just be very patient with yourself. Reward yourself, but also hold yourself accountable and keep going.
And thank you for being open like that. It's like some people like wouldn't do that. Most people wouldn't do that, I don't think. But some wrapping up questions. If you have like 5 artists that you're listening to right now on your phone, who are they? Music artists. Sorry.
I got you. It depends. Lately, I've been listening to her. Daniel Caesar. Jump back into him. Who else have I been listening to? Janae.
Janae.
I've been real like subtle. Brent. Of course, I love Brent. Fayez.
It's Brent.
Right. I always
at this point, he's on the first name basis for me.
Am I 5th? You know, the real cliche, but Drake be talking his shit.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite rapper of all time. I don't know. It is cliche. Like it's. Drake. I feel embarrassed when I say it because like most people would say that.
Most people say they've been listening to Drake, but like.
I feel like Drake's like B-sides, his like mixtape is cold too. So like,
yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, thank you for coming on the podcast. I appreciate you being again open and being honest. Make sure you guys support TK Remedies, Kendall Services and Business. I personally I've been buying your products for over a year now, and I've enjoyed every single cent that I have. So make sure you guys support TK Remedies, support Black women-owned businesses, support Kelsey, and make sure you guys follow them. You guys are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Just Instagram and Facebook, TK Remedies.
Instagram and Facebook. Make sure you guys follow them. Keep updated on when these winter scents will be dropping, and then other future endeavors for the company. And then make sure you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel and the podcast. Thank you for joining us, and I look forward to collaborating more in the future. And yeah, I really enjoyed having you on. So thank you. Tune in next time. Hopefully we have some more conversations like this with Black and brown business owners and creators.